Hey, brothers, you're listening to Home Bar Happy Hour. We're talking about a solid, maybe not a solid, but a decent. We're talking about the birds, brother. We're talking about the birds. We're talking about camping, the do's and don'ts. You want to stay away from them bears. And we're talking about how to order at a restaurant. Like, what is up with that? We're going to tell you all about it. Let's roll, America.
All right, yeah, let's roll indeed. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Home Bar Happy Hour. We bring happy hour to you. My name is Joe, and that is Chef Gus. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by the Home Bar. If you like hanging out, please make sure to subscribe on YouTube or leave us a review on your podcast service of choice. Our episode today is sponsored by BuyBeckett.com, but we'll tell you all about that a little bit later. For right now, let's jump into it. Mike, how are you feeling coming off of that Birds win on Sunday?
Overall, I feel good, but Nick Sirianni, man, dude, how do you go from that dominant win the week before and then like against Cincinnati, and then you come in here and which a game that we should have just blew the socks off of the Jags. Give or take, like the Jags linebacking core played really good, and their D line played pretty good too, but not good enough. The talent on our team definitely took over. Saquon Barkley played that's a video that's going to be played on replays and little video bites for at least a decade.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be forever. Yeah, don't take anything away from the Jacksonville Jaguars. They played a great game, but, I mean, we're like 10 times the team they are. Talking about Sirianni, that is like the biggest issue I have, dude.
Yep.
He is just playing so aggressively when it's not necessary. Like, I am all for, going for it on fourth down. I'm all for trying to get a 2-point conversion instead of a, point after attempt when it's necessary. But when it's not, when you're up by 7 points already, just take the extra one. You know what I mean?
Do you think it's because he has
kick a field goal? I think he just likes to play really aggressively. And if you look at all the numbers, spread out through whatever, right? You're playing Moneyball or whatever. Even when he's being super aggressive like this, and he is coming up with, leaving points on the board. Because if you look at the game, if you look at between field goals we shouldn't have taken, fourth downs where we went for it, we could have kicked the field goal. Look at the 2-point conversions that were missed. Look at all that wild stuff. We probably left 6 or 7 points on the board.
It was 9.
We still won. It was 9.
It was 9 points.
Which is ridiculous, but we still won. You know what I mean? So it was I think he kind of comes away with I play aggressive. Yeah, I do whatever. We still came away with a win, which is true, but it was a weird looking win. You know what I mean? We didn't need those extra 9 points. Well, but you're leaving points on the board, and that's going to be more detrimental to us when we're playing a team that's not the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And the Jacksonville Jaguars could have beaten us.
Absolutely.
They could have beaten us. They were positioned to at least, they had opportunities to beat us. And that shouldn't happen because, that's why I said, there's no reason that you need to be aggressive against the Jaguars. It's not the playoffs, you know what I mean? I feel like he has an ego complex because you have Andy Reid down here in Kansas City, great Eagles coach in recent, memory that's still employed. And then you have Doug Peterson coming into the house who gave us our first Super Bowl win. So I feel like he had not just an ego complex, but a self-confidence. I want to be known as, the aggressive coach. I want to, you know what I mean? He wanted to make a statement, and I'm there's no reason to make a statement. Your whole team is lined up to succeed, and you're ruining them by being so overly aggressive. Just kick the field goal. Who gives a shit? Nobody cares. It's the NFL. This isn't college or high school football.
That's what the play calling felt like. The number 30 high school team in the state playing the number 1 high school team in the state, and you're pulling out all the stops. It's like, bro, we can play conservatively this game. And if we had played conservatively that game, it would have been a blowout instead of this bare nail biter that we, just eked out a win through. That's what's like kind of weird. Like, we got to stop. Maybe it's like the Philly mentality too, is like we're always underdogs and dogs run faster, all that stuff. But like, we don't need to be in that position right now. We got Jalen Hurts, we got Saquon Barkley, we got AJ Brown. Like, we can play a little more conservatively, especially when we're against these bad teams.
And then if we need to, if we're playing conservatively, then you need to win. Then you go out there and win. That's what the Chiefs do. If the Chiefs fall behind or anything like that, then they let Patrick Mahomes and the talent on their offense just take over and be aggressive. At that point of the game, like, that defense is already gassed out because they're throwing everything at you to stop you. And that's why they just play conservatively and they just keep wearing you down and stuff. And who cares if like Patrick Mahomes like throws like 2 or 3 picks? Like, Jalen Hurts does the same thing. And I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying that Jalen Hurts does the same thing. So, like, there's no reason to play panic mode. I mean, like, the defense is set. I love the defense. I love Cooper DeJean. I love Quentin Mitchell. Awesome. Dude, those two, awesome. Like, and don't forget, like, we actually have 2 Pro Bowl linebackers, Pro Bowl playing linebackers at the moment, in Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean. Like, they're playing. Zach Bond's playing out of his mind, dude. That first quarter, he was all over the place.
Yeah,
and then let's get to the big highlight reels here. Obviously Saquon Barkley running all over him, and that one run that he had where he jumped over him backwards was fucking
he played
nuts.
Like a hurdle. Yeah, just hurdled that dude in reverse.
Yeah,
that was pretty sweet.
And that one-handed touchdown catch by Devontae Smith.
Yeah, that was pretty incredible. That was like really great ball control, grabbing it, getting those feet down. That was
situational awareness in the end zone, making, you know what I mean? Like, he had his was the catch by Dotson was in the game too, right?
I don't remember.
I don't know if that was in the game or if that was in the Cincinnati game.
Yeah.
I don't know. A couple cold ones, they all seem to mesh together.
Yeah, I know Saquon had a receiving touchdown in this game on Sunday as well that looked really good. But, I mean, that's kind of the aggressiveness we need, is like when you're using your talent to do that. We don't need to be super aggressive with all of our play callings, especially when we're already up by 5 or 6 or whatever. Like, you're up by a touchdown, you're up by a field goal or 2. Just like keep adding to that league. Don't try to like add 2 points when 1 is going to be fine, or don't try to, get the first down when we would be fine with a field goal.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. That's my 2 cents. Let's be play a little smarter football, guys.
Yeah. I mean, we have an opportunity here with a beat up and, down Dallas team. I really could care less about Dallas. I'm happy that they're in this position.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want nothing but misery of that establishment, and like, whatever.
That's all we want, is just the worst time for Dallas.
That game, I really feel that it's going to be a blowout. And it should be. It should, like, I feel that Jacksonville is more talented right now than Dallas is. As far as like coaching, organization, like I mean, I don't know how you want to compare CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's obviously better than Thomas Jr., but I mean, Thomas Jr. is on the up, and CeeDee Lamb's already established. Dak Prescott's not in. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence is better than Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
Like, their tight end situation's better.
Trevor Lawrence is such a stupid. Trevor Lawrence is such a stupid football name. Like, it sounds like an uppity college that you would send your, this liberal arts college. Like, oh, my son is at Trevor Lawrence studying philosophy.
Who was it that was drafted by Chicago and then went to the Steelers not too long ago? What was his name? He was like the only quarterback in that draft because it was so bad.
I don't know.
I'll never forget him. I remember him showing up on the red carpet, and his mom was there with him, which is fine. But then he asks his mother, for a chapstick out of her purse, and then he applies it right there. I'm like, bro, you're going to be a quarterback for an NFL team, and you're going to be taking first round. That's not an image you want to be putting around as a mama's boy. You want to be coming across as, smart, smart, intelligent, a qualified leader in the locker room and on the field, and tough. Dude, you got like these dudes running at you like 1,000,000 miles an hour, and you're gonna get fucking killed short. Damn it, his name fucking just popped right in my head, and I just lost it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean,
voice lips.
Yeah, I would do the picks, but I don't feel like anybody's really giving a shit about them. It's just like something like that. So if you, the audience, prefer me to do the picks, and you're keeping track, please put it in the notes. Email us, write on social media. I'll be happy to keep on doing them. But we're gonna move on because I feel like that was just wasting time. So we're gonna get into here in the Joe. The weather, I feel, is fantastic right now.
Dude, it's outrageous for November.
And spring insane. Are like the best times to go camping, like legit camping. Yep. And
I agree with that. Summer gets a little warm.
Yeah. I want to touch base on that because my neighbors, like, they do, like, they take their off-road stuff, they go camping up in the woods. I think it's pretty cool. And those of you guys out there that enjoy camping, such as Joe, I know you and your wife do not really enjoy the nature as per se.
We camp all the time. What are you talking about? We're big campers.
Really? I didn't. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm talking about like, I'm not talking about going to a campground. I'm talking about going into the rut.
Well, no, we're not going out. We're not just finding a wild, like we'll go to like a campground or a state park or something, camp out there. But I mean, we're tent campers, we're not rolling up in some $70,000 RV. We're out there roughing it, we're cooking weenies over a fire. We're roasting marshmallows. We're going without a shower for a day or two. I love camping. Big fan.
So what is your, I never knew that. I just assumed that you guys were just like, nature. Yeah. I'm not into dirt and stuff. I like her.
I love going camping. I love going hiking. My wife is a little more. We still tent camp. She's a little more. Like the first time we went camping, I have a nice little like Queen Air mattress that I blow up, and she's like, "Oh, did you grab sheets?" And I'm like, "Sheets?" And she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna put sheets over it." I'm like, "No, it's an air mattress. We're gonna chill in sleeping bags." She's like, "No, we're bringing sheets and pillows." I'm like, "All right, whatever." So she does a little bit like that. We typically try to plan it out over like a hike or something, a nice hike. I took her on this wild 10-mile hike once, where we had to do like 2 river crossings. I didn't realize until we were there.
Oh, Jesus.
But it was like 2 waist deep river crossings. And as we're like getting up to it, the people that were like hiking in front of us were like, yeah, like 3 people died this year on this trail.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we did it. We got it. Went there, got back. It was a blast. But now she likes to plan out the trails in advance before just letting me go ham on whatever I find on the internet. But yeah,
so,
I love camping.
So what are your do's and don'ts for camping?
So
like your basic do's and don'ts, like the basic stuff.
So you gotta lock up your food. That's a big one. Make sure it's in a car. One time we came back from a hike, and it was a little late at night. It was like getting dark, and we had most of our food was in the tent, but we had a little bit left out, and we came up, rolled up right on a skunk, rummaging through a food bag out by our campsite, and we just slowly backed away. We're like, you take what you want, little guy, and then get out of here. And then we just threw out that bag. So that's the big one, right? You got to make sure. You also got to make sure, and this is like mainly for summer, but even like spring and fall, I think you want to have a battery operated fan. I think that is super important. Have something to blow some air around in that tent, because those tents can get muggy and gross, and you don't want that just stagnant air. You need something kind of circulating the air around in there. What about you, Mike? What are some of your do's and don'ts for the great outdoors?
Well, I mean, to add on to it, they now come out with solar powered power sources, like even if it's just like for a light or a fan or something like that that connects to a solar panel, and like you let it charge all day and it'll last you all night, like you said. And then they even have like they have like the battery, like the rechargeable battery, like, you know what I mean, like if you have like DeWalt stuff, and like you could take that battery, like my neighbor has that for a cooler, like a refrigerated cooler. But they also sell like the solar panel like the adapters for all this stuff. I think that's like sweet hookup light. You don't have to worry about getting batteries. You don't have to worry about throwing batteries out. You don't have to worry about rechargeable batteries. And like, I just feel like it's just like all waste. And having like the solar stuff is cool. And then keeping batteries as backup. I know that like that's what I have when I go to hunting camp. I don't camp out. We have a cabin. But it's like when I do go out in the nature and stuff like that, I like to have rechargeable shit, like electric socks. Like when I go out, I'm like we're up there in the cold regions, the tundra, man, like up there close to Buffalo, and it gets fucking cold up there, man. And like that's one thing, you're just sitting there and your blood's not moving and stuff, and it gets cold. So just making sure that electric heating socks, electric gloves, electric hand warmers, and then I have backups for the shakers, like the heat shakers, and they also sell the Mr. heaters, like the mini ones where you put the little the Coleman propane cans on there, and then it's got like a little Mr. heater. You get that for like, you know what I mean, for winter camping.
I'll say, Mike, I've seen those in use one time at your bar, and that one time I saw it in use at your bar, it caught on fire. So I don't know if I'm going to take those. Something was going on with it. It like started melting. That thing went crazy.
Oh no, I still use that same one. That's not the same. They have miniature. They have miniature
that
ones.
That thing was okay.
No, that wasn't here in the bar. That was down there at the Eagles tailgate. That's when that happened.
I'm pretty sure it was in your bar. It was for an Eagles.
No, it was definitely down there at the tailgate, because we were all like, I set it up down there for the NFC Championship game against the 49ers, and I set it up for you guys, and I did. It started malfunctioning. I feel like it wasn't actually, there was something wrong with the propane tank, and that's like a rarity.
We'll blame the propane tank.
Well, I mean, I've had the Mr. Heaters since I've been growing up, and they're pretty reliable. That was just a rarity. I never seen that happen. But I mean, like, there's stuff that you see on grills and stuff like that. I mean, that shit kind of happens. I mean, nothing's 100% proof.
No, so there's always room for accidents. Safety first.
They have the little one. It's only like this big, and like kind of like like that round, and it hooks to just your standard that little Coleman propane thing.
Well, like the small green ones.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be a little
or
smaller.
The one guy, we'll call him Albert. You know him. He's got one, and that's what I came into I left my blind, and I was like, I'm too fucking cold. Everything failed. So this year, totally different. I'm just parking my truck next to the blind, and I'm just going to run an extension cord with an electric heater into the blind.
There you go.
I'm not putting up that shit anymore. Yeah. Well, at least like enough to take the edge off, so I'm not freezing my dude. When that wind chill goes through there, I'm like, fuck this, man. This is cold.
I don't hunt. I don't like just sitting out there being cold for hours to maybe shoot a deer. That's not.
But I have no problem. Like I'll sleep fucking anywhere, man. I love sleeping under the stars.
Oh yeah, just out in nature like that. No tent or nothing.
Yep. Nothing, man. I do prefer
some
a
type
tent.
of shelter. Yeah. Well, obvious.
But you want to know some of the best stories of camping when I was growing up?
Yeah, lay it on me.
So one time we were camping. It was me, my mom, and my aunt. We'll call her Aunt Colleen. And it was her daughter, our cousins, her daughter, her son, with me, my brother, my sister, and my mom. We went camping, and they spent all day. Well, they got this fire going. They didn't want the fire to go out, so we were all going to bed. And I feel like they were, like, and so
Doing
it
a
started
little
fucking
boozing.
raining. So yeah, so it started raining, and she puts a fucking umbrella over top of the fire. Meanwhile, all that fucking smoke is billowing into the tent where all of us kids are sleeping.
Right, she's smoking you guys out.
Like, yeah, like, dude, the one kid, my cousin woke up and started fucking puking. Like, I can't, like, my brother and my kid were like, what the fuck? That was funny.
Carbon monoxide poisoning.
The one time it was my mom and my Aunt Tracy, we'll call her Aunt Tracy, they took us up with my cousin and, my brother and stuff. We went up camping, as a family, sister, up behind my father's, like, where I grew up in the woods, like, way up the mountain, and went camping there. Well, back then we had a big German Shepherd. We call him Sarge. And he was so fluffy. Oh my God, he's so fluffy. That's how he was. He was a very fluffy dog. And so my aunt's like, I got to go take a shit. So she walks off into the darkness, into the woods. And I think my Aunt Colleen was there too, or my Aunt Patty. And they're all like there. And then they're like, the dog came over and found her, and like she's taking a shit, and the dog starts licking her asshole, and like won't leave her alone. Maureen, come get your fucking dog! And I'm just, that was when I was a kid, but I hear stories of this when I'm an adult, and I'm just pissing myself laughing. And then the one time, the entire family went out. It was my grandmother. We went to this one camp. It was not a big campground area, but it's a pretty big one. It's like a state park. You go there, you check in, you set up shop at like one of their campsites that you register at. And like that's what they had. Like we had set up all the tents, we put up a nice, overhead over the top of the picnic table. They got all this food, all the coolers and stuff like that. And we all went to the beach. That's what there was at the lake. And we're over at the beach and stuff like that. And we come back. This is part one of two stories.
Two-parter.
Yeah, we came back, and my grandfather was smoking, and he was like sitting at the picnic table, and the wind blew or whatever, and he caught the fucking goddamn picnic table on fire. We'll get into later stories about my grandfather, my late grandfather, bless his soul. He was quite the character. And
starting forest fires. Smokey the Bear would be so angry with your grandfather.
Yeah. Speaking of Smokey the Bear, the next year or two or whatever, when we went back there, we had Smokey the Bear pay us a visit and start eating all of our snacks and everything and take off with the cooler.
See, you gotta hide that food. Them bears will come for us. Let's tie them up, right?
Well,
tie them up high.
We're by other people. Like they're all within 30, 40 feet walking distance. Like it's not anything, but we're pinned up against the woods. And you know what I mean? You've been to these places, and I'm sure our listeners have. But yeah, it was so wild, and that's what I said about black bears. They're more about scavengers and stuff like that. They're they smell something, they want to eat it, and then if like the human comes around, like I'm getting the fuck out of here. He's more scared. He or she's more scared of you than you are of them, unless it's a Kodiak.
Most people,
unless it's a Kodiak. But black bears are like they only attack you if they're in self-defense or
or if they're on cocaine.
Yep. But go ahead with what you were going to do.
Sure. Let's throw it to an ad. If you guys didn't already know, this is Home Bar Happy Hour every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. We bring happy hour to you. This episode is sponsored by buybeckett.com, and we're going to tell you about that right now. This episode of Home Bar Happy Hour is brought to you by buybeckett.com. Head over to buybeckett.com/homebarhappy to shop their happy hour line of clothing and gifts. They have cool t-shirts, sweatshirts, and fun coffee mugs that lets everyone know you care about the important things in life, like happy hour. And if you use our link, you can get 15% off your first order. Buy Beckett has a ton of great clothing and accessory options, from their happy hour line to their veteran first line. Mike and I are both vets, and we love showing our support for the troops with a cool mug or a funny t-shirt. They have some really great stuff, and you will not be disappointed. So head over to buybeckett.com/homebarhappy or use the link in the description for 15% off your first order. Help support the show and get yourself some great stuff. That's buybeckett.com/homebarhappy or use the link in the description. All right, we're back, Mike. Let's jump into what do you have next for us? We want to jump into some restaurant stuff?
Yeah, so just a quick thing on restaurants and stuff like that. It's like one thing I noticed was like people when they go out to eat. I'm not saying all people. I'm just saying some. There's a few out there when they being a chef and helping, restaurants and stuff like that. There are people that come out there and they see what's on the menu and then they completely fabricate with all these adjustments and stuff. And dude, my thing is being a chef. If you're going to go out there and you're going to say you're going to a dive bar, you're at a dive bar. Why are you ordering your fucking burger to temp? Just say medium. Just say medium or well. Like, why are you it's a dive bar. We're not at a gourmet place. You know what I mean? Like, you're not fine dining.
Right. You don't know what type of meat that is. You want that ground beef cooked fully through. You ain't trying to walk out of that dive bar with mad cow. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not true because everything needs to be inspected before distribution. So if there was mad cow disease on that, it's already been pre-checked.
There's not really going to be mad cow, being a bit facetious.
Yeah.
But you still get what I'm saying, right? I feel much rather. I'm not getting beef tartare at any place,
Oh yeah,
it's Gordon Ramsay. I'm gonna be careful with the.
I wouldn't even serve you beef tartare.
Yeah.
Well, even if I got it from a fresh butcher, I just don't. I don't know. I don't know much about that. I know about beef tartare and how to make it. I just don't trust it enough in today's health world. If that makes sense. Unless I'm at some fine dining where they're scooping out batches of fucking caviar.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that high society, the people standing there with a fucking stick and a cigarette at the end of it,
yeah.
And 12 Dalmatians.
Yeah.
But
make some beautiful fur coats.
If you go to a restaurant, yes, the restaurant will accommodate you, but don't go out there and expect them to either recreate the food that you want, what's on there. Make hey, instead of this, or can I add cheese? Don't add cheese. Substitute. Hey, can I get that with no onions? No problem. Not a big deal. But when you're going out there and you're getting oh, hey, can I get let me get the chicken, the jalapeno, I don't know what I want to say, the jalapeno chicken Alfredo, I don't know, some bougie ass fucking goddamn, even just a sandwich. Hey, hey, save the marinade. I just want a plain piece of chicken. Take it off the roll. Add Swiss cheese instead of cheddar jack. Put it on a bed of asparagus and a side of rice. What the fuck is that? You're making your own fucking meal. Save that shit for your own fucking house. You order what the fuck's on the menu.
Yeah, exactly. I think the only big caveat would be if you have a food allergy or something, and if it's you're allergic to mushrooms and it comes with mushrooms, be hey, can I get it with no mushrooms? Or but at the same point, just try and order something without mushrooms on it. That should be your, step one.
Yeah, don't go for a food that's oh, I really want this, but it has mushrooms in it. You're not ordering that fucking meal. Hey, let me get a beef stroganoff. Can I get the beef stroganoff without mushrooms? I'm I'm allergic. Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. We'll whip up beef stroganoff on the side out of nowhere just for you. Yeah.
Right.
What do you think we're doing? What do you think the restaurant's doing back here? We're pushing out a mass amount of food for a population, for pushing out mass amount of food and constantly turning over tables to make money. So like you coming in there and asking for like, the beef stroganoff that's made from scratch without mushrooms, like beef stroganoff is made from mushrooms with beef. That's like the key ingredient in a way. So they're not going to just whip it up. Like you're not like, you want that shit? Go to fucking New York City and see what the fuck they say. Or
take
or
it
down
to one
to
of
Philly.
these coastal cities.
Yeah. When you go down there and see what the fuck they say down there. Oh yeah, definitely do that in an Italian restaurant. See what happens.
Yeah.
Or
probably won't go well for you.
Yeah, just like, dude, you're going out there. When I go out, I think it's because I'm a chef and I'm very well versed with the restaurant industry in and out. I think that's why, like, when I go to a restaurant and I eat out, like, I'm like, dude, just this, and this. Give it, or I want the chef's or the kitchen, whatever your specials are, Yeah. And then like, yes, I'm disappointed in the end in most places because I'm expecting like my palate's very in tune. So I'm not saying that I'm a bougie fucking guy when it comes to food, but
you just know what you like.
Yeah, like I mean, like when I go out, I expect a nice fucking steak, man, and it's just like I'm not going to go out. I mean, like we're not going to go down that road and like the purveyors and prices and stuff like that, but I'd rather just cook my own food because I know what I like.
Do it at home.
I know how to prepare it. I know my palate. So, but speaking of now knowing that, Joe, this owning a restaurant has made me sick of people. This is what this one Reddit commenter said. I've been an owner of a restaurant for about 10 years. Business is doing decently well, and most people I run into on the job are good, normal people. But as someone who's also had a corporate career, I feel like people who work in the restaurant industry will inevitably run into way more unscrupulous people and unpleasant interactions than someone who works at a desk in a standard corporate setting. As an owner, I've dealt with so many people, customers, employees, business contracts, who just have no shame or concern for others. Working in a corporate setting was stressful at times, but in my experience, the restaurant industry is just on a whole other level. I think it's also gotten way worse since the pandemic for whatever reason. I'm doing relatively well, but it's gotten to the point where I'm beginning to question whether it's worth all the headache. How do you guys deal with all the bullshit? How do you feel about that?
So I've worked in corporate, I guess the past 10 years almost, in a corporate setting, like in an office. I've never worked like in the service industry, but I have had a lot of friends that work in the service industry, and I had this like kind of realization. A friend of mine who was a waitress, and she was doing really well and kept going to like better and better restaurants, got her like sommelier level 2, all that stuff. What she kind of said to me, and this like made a lot of sense, like resonated. She's like, you're, a waitress or a waiter, you're waiting on someone, and it doesn't matter really like how high you go in your career, you're always serving someone that is like making more money than you. So like if you get, same with like kind of a chef, or like I think like any restaurant, like if you're a chef and you're working your way up, like even if you get to like the nicest, fanciest restaurant, 90% of the people that come in are the people that can afford to eat at a type of restaurant like that and don't really respect and enjoy it. Like that's kind of like your every day you're dealing with people who think they're better than you because they make more money, or you're their server or whatever. And that's just kind of how it goes all the way up the chain, right? If you're working at McDonald's, you're serving people that can afford to eat McDonald's, versus if you're a server at Noom, that like crazy restaurant in Copenhagen, like you're serving people that can afford to have a $400 or $500 meal. So I think you have that in the corporate setting, right? Like you're typically interacting with people who are on your same level, more or less, right? Like sometimes maybe I'll talk to someone that's a little higher, someone's a little lower, but there's like kind of a mutual level of respect where like you're at this company or I'm at this company, or, we're all kind of in it together as a team. That mutual respect doesn't um, always lend itself to a transactional relationship like it is when you go out to eat. You're also, if you're going out to eat and you're interacting with the server and you don't like that restaurant, and you just happen to be a jerk or an awful person, you might think to yourself, I'm never going to see this person again. I'm just going to let them know what I think. In the corporate setting, there's a pretty good chance you're going to see this person again, right? If you're working in the same industry, even if you're at competing companies or whatever, you're not trying to burn bridges. You don't really care about burning bridges with your, waiter or waitress. So I think people are outrageously rude to waiters and waitresses. I've seen it a lot. And I think that's a really terrible way to be. And if that's you as a person, you should feel bad for yourself. You should, think about your life decisions that led you to leaving this poor, woman or man a bad tip, or yelling at a server, or being mad at a chef or whatever. Like, just, if something's wrong with your meal, let them know in a nice, polite way, and the restaurant will accommodate you. But other than that, like, just be nice, be good to each other, be kind. It's what life's all about,
I 100% agree with you, Joe. And you got into it where like chefs go into these restaurants, to these 4 or 5 star restaurants where they're creating food from scratch, and then you're getting like really good food. Like when you go to a restaurant that's got like they're creating it from scratch, and then you're there, and then it's like, nah, take it back, I don't like it, this sucks. You start yelling at the server. First off, if you're yelling at the server, regardless who you are and who the server is, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like they're busting
Agreed.
their ass to take care of you in order to make a quick buck. And I'm not even saying just to be cheap. I'm like, dude, they're literally scrounging for dollars. That's their job, to make money from the tip. And they're serving you food and trying to give you the best service. Now, if your server is barely even at your table, then, dude, reflect it. You keep your fucking emotion in check, and you reflect it in the tip. That's the whole point of the tip.
Yeah, or
you
even
know what
like
I mean?
If it's like a terrible server, like I could never imagine like yelling at a server. But I mean, if you had a server that like never came to you,
if I was at a restaurant
ripping Coke lines in the bathroom or something, maybe like ask for like say something to the hostess, be like, hey, like this person is awful. Don't like make a scene and yell at someone.
If
it would need to be like
I'm,
a truly.
I'm letting you know, and I want to put our the audience in. I'm going to put them on notice. If I'm in a restaurant,
on notice.
Yeah, if I'm in a restaurant and I'm sitting down eating and I see anybody treating a server or the kitchen with disrespect, like unless they received it, in, like if he starts like screaming and like he or she starts screaming at the server, I'm gonna step in. I'm gonna step in, and I'm like, this is no, I'm not gonna start throwing hands. I'm gonna start like, you were in the wrong. This is not how you communicate with people. There's zero respect in our culture now, in this culture, in this country. And like, that's why I'm like, I feel like nobody just gives a shit. Like I've seen like people just walk in the restaurants and just be like, this food sucks, I'm never coming here again. And then the manager and the owner tried to accommodate them the best way they can. And like, they still don't give a fuck because they're there for a freebie or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, where's your dignity at? Even if like you're a man and the server's you're a male and the server's a female and you're screaming at them, like, dude, I'm sorry, if it gets to that point, I'm probably going to smack you, because you're just absolutely throw hands. You're just no, that's not throwing hands. It's just a nice little smack. Like you're acting absolutely insane right now, and you need to be smacked out of it. And I'm pretty sure a guy of my stature is standing in front of you, and you're not really going to do anything. And I mean, unless you're like built like the Hulk Hogan, or Brock Lesnar, or Batista or something. But I mean, those people don't act like that in front of other people. Like the common person, just So just to get away from all that, there's a few other
move on
people.
to something more pleasant than being.
Well, there was a few other people. Here's an owner. Here's what I'm really starting to hate about owning a restaurant. My kitchen staff are drug addicts. All my bartender servers are drunk sluts. Half my customers are just assholes. I've gotten really good at disassociating myself and just getting my money. Well, that business is not going to be holding well if it's not already under. That was 12 days ago, so that's going to be an under. The one owner's like only half. How'd you get so lucky?
I will say, like, the people I know that work in service, that work like that's their career, is in hospitality, or, you know, working in a restaurant. Some of them are just absolute wild monsters, because like they're always working at night.
Yep.
You know, when the normal people are getting off work, they're going to work, and every day is just like a battle between the kitchen staff and the customers, and it's so busy, and they're just going on, and they get off at, you know, get done work at midnight, 1 a.m, and then they just immediately start boozing, and then they wake up at 2 p.m. the next day and just start it all over again.
Well, it's not even just those kitchens. I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. I just wanted to put on. No. It's not even just some of those kitchens. Like, there's kitchens that people don't understand. Like, they just feel like the food is just there and people make it and it poof. No, there's a prep. There's a prepper. There's restaurants that are 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week preparation. And they are well planned out weeks in advance. And then they plan out. That's like exceptional organization and leadership in a 5-star restaurant. Like, you would take like a organization like Hershey, for instance. I've never worked there, but a main an establishment like that, I guarantee you, like, they are nearly running 24/7 and most times of the year to fill food and catering orders and like banquets and all this stuff. Like, and then that food has to be on point. And if you know what I mean, like, it's just like just to get money from the people who pay. And if they don't think it's worth it or whatever, then go down to McDonald's and get yourself a slot burger.
Yeah. Not even that. If you're working at like or, you know, you're dining at a high-end restaurant that gets, you know, meat and fish in like every day, there's got to be someone there in the morning to get the fish, and then the meat or whatever it is, they're preparing it. You know, they're not pulling it out of the freezer and thawing it every morning. You know, it all comes in fresh and then gets prepared, and they make X amount of plates so they can sell and make Y amount of dollars. Yeah, it's a big thing working in a kitchen. I'm glad that I do not work in a kitchen. That is something I don't envy of you, Mike. I would never want.
Here's the thing: it's that like we've done this. I've done it. I enjoy. If you don't, you have. If
like
you're if you're
I don't like.
No, that's not entirely true. I love organized chaos. If there's chaos, like I've done since Afghanistan, I'm a problem solver. I like to be in the chaos in order to straighten it out. That's like a good talent of mine. I always wanted to take the challenge of any problem solving that's ever come, especially right now. That's where my better uses are, in the kitchen, where I can better lead people and organize it and make sure it works efficiently. Outside of that, I don't like chaos.
Okay.
Could
have fooled me, Mike.
I love rules. Without rules, Jerry, there's chaos. But real quick, Joe, I'm going to finish you with this one last question. If you could steal one item from any action movie, what would you pick?
Oh, action movie? One item. Horror movie. And
No. I changed it up. That's why I said, like, no. It's not horror movie. Action movie.
You see, you threw me off because I had a horror movie one planned, but I don't know.
You could throw in your horror movie.
My horror movie would be the 1973 Oldsmobile Delta 88 from Evil Dead, because that car rules. That car is sick. That big yellow car is absolutely dope. That's what I would steal. But you probably have an action movie one. I do have an action movie one.
Dude, it would have to be either either the handgun that had 2 rounds in it from Die Hard that shot the one dude and it put Hans Gruber out the window. Actually, it was the watch. Actually, no, I want the watch off of his wife. That's Pulp the watch Fiction? That no, not from Pulp Fiction. No, the watch from God damn it, what was John McClane's wife's name? Holly.
Oh, Holly.
Yeah. Holly Gennaro. Your name's not Gennaro. It's McClane. You're married to me. You don't know the first thing about marriage. I'm like, dude, the 80s were nuts. But yeah, the watch. The 80s were nuts. Because all he had to do was just clip that watch that he got off of the fucking cocaine addict. And the fucking, hey, John Boy. But it was either that. I'm going to equivalent. Oh man, well, there's probably that's number 3. Number two has to be the M60 from Rambo 2.
Okay.
I don't even know if that was even an M60 in Rambo 2. It might have been. I don't know because that was that was supposed to be a Russian Huey. I don't know how the Russians got Hueys. I don't know if the Vietnamese confiscated or whatever. But yeah. All right, so maybe the M60 from Rambo 1. I don't know. The one, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, that was a classic scene. Number 1, the fucking minigun from Terminator 2 when he kicks that desk out of the fucking window and the police are like, tell him to surrender, put the weapon down, put your hands on your head. That was like probably one of the greatest of all time action movie. Like right there, that little bit, and he just starts firing that fucking minigun down there.
Yeah, dude, all throughout. Yeah, that's dude.
Insane. The build up to that, he was like, "What are you gonna do?" And he's like, "I'll be back." And then like he fucking and then he's gonna go. Oh Jesus Christ! Here comes Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's gonna kick some ass. And then he kicks that fucking desk out the window, and the cops are all out, and the fucking
all the helicopters.
Yeah, and they're all fine. And they shot him like, "Stop! Put your hands on your head." And all of a sudden he just opens the fuck up with that chain gun. Dude, that was fucking sick. That was, those are kind of like mine.
Yeah, that's not some. I don't know if I have an action movie one. Probably any of the cars from the Fast and the Furious movie. I think they drove.
Oh, dude, what about that fucking goddamn? What's that car that they went up in space with?
Oh, I don't know.
That would. If I were you, that'd be the one that I would want.
Number 9. I tell you what, my favorite probably car from the Fast and Furious movies are the Ford Lightning that Paul Walker drove in the very first one. I love that car. Those Ford Lightnings are sick. And then the Charger that Vin Diesel drove at the end of that movie. That's got that fucking big old Hemi in the front. Yeah, that thing is sick.
Yeah, that Charger.
that's what I would want. Just that giant Charger that's apparently got 14 gears because Vin Diesel just keeps shifting all over.
I know, right? And then he's got like 20 fucking tanks of NOS.
Yeah.
It's like 20 tanks of NOS.
Yeah.
Dude.
Like, how long is this quarter mile? Y'all have been on it for 4 minutes. Vin's still shifting.
Dude, I think he's still shifting, and we're not even a part 2 of the final of the finale. Dude, how do you think this finale...
between all the movies.
How do you think this finale's going to end?
I don't know. The Rock is back. The Rock is coming back for this last one.
Dude, John Cena did not die. I refuse to believe he did not die. He's going to come back.
Didn't die.
Jesus, Gail Gadot's coming back, and she flew out the back of a C-7 without anything.
Well, Han has died like 4 times. He died in the 6th one. He died in the 3rd one. He came back in like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're all over the place.
I feel like these guys have... cat blood in them because they clearly have more than one life. They got 9 lives. Yeah. No, so dude, this finale is going to be loaded with fucking stars. You're going to have Jason Statham in it. You're going to have Luke Evans. He's going to be coming back from what was that? The number 8, 7 or 8. It was like the last one that Paul Walker was in.
7 was the last one Paul Walker was in.
Yeah, that was the one where, and then he went back to America and got himself arrested, and then to go back to prison. Right. Yeah, that's Luke Evans. He was the bad guy in that. Who else is going to be? Yeah. Oh, dude, I would not be stopped short to see if, what's her name?
They're all going to be there. Kurt Russell as Mr. Nobody's going to be there. Charlize Theron's going to be there. Jason Momoa. I mean, it's going to be the Avengers Endgame of the Fast and the Furious.
Oh, franchise. Absolutely. Exactly Rowdy Ronda Rousey. She's going to be in it.
I don't think Ronda Rousey's coming back.
You don't think so? I mean, she's still alive. Now. Dude,
but people hate her, man. People like absolutely can't stand Ronda Rousey.
I don't know why.
She was a terrible wrestler, and she just makes a lot of weird comments.
I don't know. I don't know any of the comments.
Just not like political or anything. She just makes comments about how she was a better, UFC fighter than she really was.
Well, I mean, she was a pretty badass in her prime. She was a pretty badass fighter.
She was good until someone figured out her one trick. And then she couldn't win a fight after that. And then she sucked in the WWE. She was such a bad wrestler. She was terrible.
She was all right. I mean, like everybody just wanted to watch. Like, it's Ronda Rousey. Like, you know what I mean? You're running off of that name, that marketing. That's what you're running off of. And I feel somebody who's never, really done it. And then they're, if she were to do one more comeback, I feel like she would be a lot better. And
they might. Well, she said a lot of bad stuff. She said a lot of bad stuff about the WWE, so I don't think though. She said they didn't give her enough time. They were giving Jake Paul too much time in the ring, and they were only giving her who knows if that's true.
Yeah. But next week, brother, we're gonna get more into the evolution of the WWE and how it's become.
Oh,
and
all right,
yeah. Well, I think that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit more about Veterans Day. I know Veterans Day falls on a Monday here, coming up this Monday. But to me and you and every other veteran out there, I feel that it is like an all week type of thing. So
sure.
Also, I don't feel like putting out the free food and hand me out list. That's not what Veterans Day is about. So if that's what you were looking for from our podcast, I'm sorry, man. You're not getting any freebie shit from me. You're going to have The only thing that you need to be doing is hanging out with your veteran buddies and celebrating what you've done together and just being together and having a couple cold ones, maybe having a few or a lot of cold ones and just socializing. That's what it's all about. And just celebrating. Yeah. So that's all I got to do, Joe. Good. So I hope you listeners have really enjoyed it. And I'm going to hand it over to Joe to close it out.
All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out at the Home Bar Happy Hour. We'll see you again next Thursday at 4:30 p.m. on YouTube or whatever podcast service you choose. See you guys.